Now we will start writing our first HTML page. So earlier we discussed that we created just a folder with just a structure, some folders which we'll be using later for images, scripts, styles, etc. All are empty right now. And an index.html file, this is also empty right now. One thing I wanted to highlight is that you try to do something like that, so that let's say there is a folder and you try to keep all the projects which we are going to do in this folder, which means that let's say the first example we are trying to make is hello world. Then this hello world is a folder, and we will try to complete this, and then we'll create another folder for our another demo, something like that, right? So this hello world folder is there, and in this everything is right now empty. So let's see this index.html file which is empty. In the VS Code we have opened this. Now we'll start writing something. So let's say I write hello world, right? Now this index.html file is now having hello world, that is fine. Now we want to run it. So one way is that, as we discussed earlier also, that we have a browser, right? And we can simply drag this file in the browser, and when we drop it, it will be opened as file URL, right? Or another way is that in Unix systems you can simply type this command and it will open. So you see right now that, as we discussed earlier also, that doing this opens it in a simple file protocol, right? We don't want that. What we want is that we want to run it in HTTP protocol. Okay, so let's see. Now we discussed earlier that something like there is a serve package, right? And if we serve package and the current folder, let's say dot, then we want to run it. But the problem is that right now I don't have this serve package installed. This is where npm comes into picture. So using npm node package manager, we are going to install this package, right? So right now, firstly see that what is this package. So we will go to npm.js and we'll see this package serve, and it will have all the instructions that how to install it. So as you can see here, what is it? It is a package by a company called Vercel, and what it does is that it starts HTTP server static for static file. So simply right now we don't have any dynamic thing, right? We simply are having some static things right now, even simply a single HTML file, and we want to serve this static file. Okay, so that is the package. Now here you can see that in right side top they will say you what command you need to run in order to install it. They will also give other instructions in the documentation. So it's a good practice to go through the documentation when you are using any package. However, right now our whole purpose is simply to install it. So when you click here, this command will be copied to your clipboard, and then you can go and paste this right now. When you paste it, then we will see that actually doing this will not work here because of a small issue. The npm this installing a package works in two ways. This package can be installed in a project, right, in a particular package which we'll create, or globally. So that part, installing it in a particular package, that we have not covered till now. So right now what we'll try to do is that install it globally. Now mind you that serve is a very common package which many times, like any folder which we want to serve it through HTTP. So such things can be installed globally, that's not an issue. But in general, as we'll see soon, that you should always try to create a project for a particular whatever setup we are trying to do, and then all our files will start getting into that project. So we'll not go into that right now, we'll go that next. But what we want to do is that we want to install it globally. So for that you do -g, and that will install it globally. One more thing, this npm I is a shortcut. Actually you can also type the whole command called npm install, right? So npm install what? This package, serve package, and install it globally, and that's why this -g flag is there, right? So you can remove that. npm I is a shortcut for that, so we can install it globally. Now how do we check that it has been installed or not? Actually for that there is another command. So what I will do is that firstly I will check that what are the packages installed globally right now, then I will run this command, and then I will again check that it has been installed or not. So right now, as I already told you, that serve command is not found, we can clearly see. We will also verify that this package is not installed globally. For that the command is npm list. We will list all the packages, but that which packages we are going to list only global packages, right? Because there is no local npm package created right now. So if we see the all the list, then we will see that there is no so in my case already such some packages are installed. In your case there might be nothing installed, right? Nothing, no packages there might be now. But our concern is that simply serve we are looking for this. There is nothing, no serve package is installed, right? cpm2 is there and start lib. So basically what we will do next is that now we will install serve, where we'll install it globally. So this command is installing the serve package globally, and once it gets installed, then that command which I just recently ran, if I run that again, then that package will be available there, right? So let's run that command again, npm list -g, and then we'll see that serve version 13.0.2, now it is installed, right? And we can check that by seeing this also, that serve, earlier the command was not found, but now I can see that the serve version is 13.0.2, which means that this package is now installed and available for running. Now it is available, so I can run serve dot. Now I just wanted to mention that why we are doing this dot. See, dot means current folder. What is my current folder? My current folder is this file where all my things are there. I want to serve this directory. So this whole directory, I am inside hello world folder, and this whole directory I want to serve via HTTP, right? So there are two ways, right? You could have also done something like this, that you are outside this directory, right? Then hello world is there. You could also do something like this, serve hello world. This will also work, right? Means I want to run hello world and serve it on HTTP, right? Or you can go inside hello world, right, and serve the current. Both will work, right? Now if I see that when I will run, then it will say that on HTTP localhost 3000, now it is running. So we'll see that and we'll open. So now it is running. So we'll see that this thing has also opened the same file, index.html, and this thing has also opened the same file index.html, right? However, now it is running as HTTP protocol. You can see, you can copy paste. Actually here it is not visible, but if you copy and paste it somewhere, then you will see the whole thing, that you see that this thing is running at localhost 3000. Yeah, so obviously this is running fine. Now we want to just tinker a little bit of things. First, see, this thing is running, I'm refreshing and it's running fine. If I cancel this, right, then uh, this thing, this serving thing, HTTP serving thing is now done. So now if I refresh, you see that this is not loaded, which means that definitely this serve package was the one which was running HTTP server. Now there are a couple of things. The first thing I want to do is that, okay, I did something like serve dot. The thing which I showed you earlier is that I also can do something like this, that I will go to a previous folder and then I can do serve hello world, right? If I do this, then you see that again it is started, and it will, if you refresh again, it will work, right? So that is the those are the two ways in which I showed you that it can be run. Second thing, let's say we want to do is that this is running at 3000 port. How to run it at a different port? So for that, actually, so you cancel it, then you see that it is not available, right? That is fine. And after that, if you want to run it on different port, then you pass some argument, let's say -p, and let's say you want to run it at 4000 port, right? Now if you start, then it's saying that it is running at 4000 port, and that's why if you go and again refresh at 3000 port, nothing is happening, because at 3000 port nothing is started, right? If you now go at 4000 port, then now it is running at 4000 port, right? That is one thing I wanted to show. Next thing I wanted to show is that, okay, that is fine, uh, but let's go inside this folder hello world, right? These are the files. uh, what if I mentioned to you earlier that index.html is a special file which is serving at root, right? Let's try to change that file name and let's see what happens, right? So I'm meaning this, that let's say index.html, I rename it to something like, let's say hello.html, right? Now I see that this hello.html is there, but when I start it, right, when I start it, let's say serve dot, and let's start at the same port because it is, that port is already open. Obviously now it will not work, but let's start it at 4000 port, right? And 4000 port is started. Now you see, now that default page which was coming, right, that is not there. And that is what I said you earlier, that index.html is a special file which is treated as the index page or home page. If that file is not there, in fact there are other ways to configure files, and you can say that some other file is indexed, but in general, by standard, the most of the web servers will take index.html, and there are some other files like index.htm or something like that, but we will not go into that. The point is that index.html will be taken as standard. If that is not there, then they will simply list down the files, and if you go and click any particular file, let's say hello.html, then obviously it will run. But now it is running at this different path, hello, right? And let's try hello.html. Yeah, so we'll see that this particular server removes the .html extension and internally creates a path with hello, but that is the configuration of the this particular server, right? But the main point we try to understand is that this sort of thing, simply slash, is not working if the file is not named index.html, right? So let's rename this back to index, right? And now if we refresh, it's working fine. right? Now, one thing I wanted to show you that if you if the page is running, right, and if you right click and do view page source, right, then this thing opens, which actually has the whole source code corresponding to this file. So right now we don't have any HTML tags or something. We have written simply some text, and that's why simply text is visible. As we will go ahead and write some tags, all those things will be visible here. So whatever is written inside this file, right, that thing is now available as raw as a source. Okay, now you can also see the same thing using inspect, but you see the difference here. See, what is happening is that since this thing is not a valid HTML, right, you just HTML must start with some HTML tags, right, but this I simply wrote some text random, right, but still the browser is forgiving, and it considers it as HTML, and it renders it. But actually it is doing something like this, is that it is trying to add some very necessary things of its own, right? So every HTML will have a starting HTML tag and a closing HTML tag, right? And a starting body and a closing body, and an optional head. So what by default this Chrome is doing is that whatever is absolutely necessary, like, you understand, right? Simply hello world, as HTML does not make sense, so it simply took this and inserted it inside body, because body part is only visible, this head part is not visible. Head part contains metadata or something like that we will see after some time. But the point is that it did absolutely necessary things to make it a valid HTML, right? So that will be all. Next, what we will do is that we will actually try to create our own valid HTML right from inside the browser, inside the VS Code. Fine. This thing which we opened just now, this using inspect, this part of the browser is for developers, and it is known as browser developer tools. In particular, this is Chrome browser, so it is called Chrome Dev Tools. The point is that as a developer, this thing is very useful, because it is going to show you a lot of things, as we will go in detail later, that we can inspect our HTML, inspect our CSS, see our JavaScript prints here, and we can see network requests, all these things. So we'll go into detail that later, but just wanted to know you that this part is called DevTools. Okay, fine. So now let's do some cleanup. So actually, this structure, whatever I showed you, this will be using later for folders for various things. Right now, we'll just delete this. Just keep the index file, and we'll try to make that index file a proper HTML file. So you can delete it from here also by right clicking, right, and delete, or you could delete directly from here also, right? And if you uh, delete, then obviously it will be deleted from here also. That is fine. So now let's work on this clean structure, where there is only one file currently in our project, but that is not pretty much an HTML, right? This is just a text thing, right, as we saw earlier. Now let's make it a proper HTML. So the first thing you have to understand in HTML is something called tags. So we will just cut it and keep it in memory. We'll use it after some time, that hello world text. See, the thing is that in HTML you have tags. Every tag and every tag will start with some angle bracket, something like this, and then some its body will be there, and that will end with something like this, which means that if the tag name is, let's say, HTML, then it will start with something like this, and it will end with something like this. Understood? And in an HTML document, HTML is always the outermost tag, right? The root tag. Then they can contain other tags inside them. For example, the HTML tag can contain something called body tag, right? And again, it will be something like that, right? So you see that sometimes the VS Code will automatically close the tags with you, and that's the advantage of these code editors, which will do some auto completion for you. But the idea, you understand that if HTML and sometimes if you need, it will have some head also, right? So head will have some metadata about the HTML thing. So for example, it will have something like what is the title of the page, uh, some uh, uh, some additional scripts which you want to load, or some metadata, some meta tags are also there which you can put here, which we will discuss all of that later, right? Right now we don't need this head, so we'll remove it. And inside the body I will simply paste that hello world, right? So earlier we were simply, and when I saved it, it properly gave a space. So that is uh, just a feature of this VS Code, that maybe that they need one space, but that is not necessary. But anyways, the point, you understand that this HTML tag is starting, the HTML tag is ending. Now there is a body tag which is starting, body tag which is ending. Inside that I have text. You understand, right? So this thing which is directly inside, you understand, this thing can be directly inside a this text can be directly inside a tag, or it can be further inside some other tag. So let's say there is a tag called p, which is called paragraph, right? I can put it inside p tag also, right? The point is that this text thing is pretty flexible. It can go inside anything, but which means that if you are in a particular tag, then either you can use a text tag, or you have to text tag means either you can use text. Actually, text node is a node in itself, but the point is that either you use inside any tag, either you use directly text, or you use some other tags. Just try to remember it like that. Okay. So we will go into p tags and all. For right now, let's say simply we have a normal let's say hello world inside it. The idea is that just let's try to refresh it, and we see that there is no change, right? There is no change because actually we have not done anything. We have just kept the structure like an HTML, but right now it is the same as earlier. In fact, if we go to uh, view source, then now we see the actual HTML, right? Which is written here, right? However, if we go to developer tools, right, then we'll see that okay, now it is fine, but see, now it is fine, but it still added this thing. It is not there in my document, right? This head thing is not there, but it added. So that's what I was trying to say earlier, that browsers are pretty forgiving, and if they think that something they want to add it, because anyways adding an empty head tag will not make any difference to the document, but still for the just semantic purposes they added it, right?